Welcome to the Across the Bar podcast, where we talk about why today's headlines are important for your success at work. My name is Peter Rahbar, and I am your first call on legal issues.
And I'm Laura Brounstein, and I'm your first call on comms issues. And hi, Peter.
Hey, Laura. Or as you like to say, you're the chief comms officer, and I'm the
Oh, right,
chief
right. I'm the
legal
chief
officer.
comms officer and content. I'm going to start saying chief comms and content. You
Yeah.
can be the chief legal, and do you want to be the COO also?
Yeah, of course. Let's make up some great titles for ourselves while we're at
Fuck
it.
yeah.
Yeah. We could be
Yeah,
co CEOs. That's a big trend.
that is a
Could
big
do that too.
trend, but it doesn't always work, does it?
No, no. Usually
No.
doesn't, actually.
No.
Um,
I mean, famous cases where it did. Soul Cycle founders, co-founders, co-CEOs did well, but you have to work at it, I think. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about because the world is a little crazy right now. Per usual, we're going to get into the government shutdown, the new ownership at CBS, the trend of more white collar unions, how and if you can outsmart AI with your resume when you're applying for a job, and I think other things will get discussed as well. But those are the main ones. So,
yeah.
shut down. There are so many repercussions coming from the government being shut down for these days, and Trump is saying that he is going to permanently furlough some of these workers.
Good luck. Um,
What are the
the
rules around this?
the world is a little hot, as you noted at the top, and our headlines have been clogged with stories about this government shutdown, including a lot of the threats that have been made by the administration. So first, there were threats from Russell Vogt, who is the
He seems
arch-
nice.
architect of Project 2025 and
Hmm.
the budget director now, and he said we're just going to eliminate all these jobs permanently. Well, that hasn't happened, and hopefully it won't. I don't think it will. And then the president has been threatening to not pay uh, back pay, so that now the 8 days that have elapsed since the shutdown. Again, more threats. These are designed by this administration to hopefully bring the Democrats to the table and put pressure on them and leverage them to get a solution. Now, what the Democrats have done is pick an issue. They picked one issue,
Yeah.
and the whole shutdown is based on that one issue. And I would say it was a brilliant stroke because
For once, the
um,
Dems are not being overly complicated. They're being
potentially,
relatively straightforward.
I'm not saying it to be partisan. I'm just saying you could just see the effects of this issue they chose, which is we'll agree to end the shutdown if you agree to continue Affordable Care Act subsidies and increase them. And the reality is those subsidies are predominantly impacting individuals in what's now called red states.
Yeah.
And it's a real issue that the Republicans have to contend with. And I think they know that. And I think the administration knows that. I think they're frustrated by it. When they get frustrated, they make threats. And that's what you see. I was talking with someone earlier this week. I mean, some of the stories, I was talking with someone who's a waiter,
Hmm.
okay, in a restaurant. And I was asking him not about healthcare subsidies. I was asking him about no tax on tips because that's what I do now. I see people and I start grilling them about work, so we could
Oh
talk
my
about
God,
it
you're
on
so
the
popular.
podcast.
Go on.
And so oh, so popular. And so he was telling me how yes, he does make enough money to take advantage of no tax on tips, and he was happy about that until this shutdown happened and the threats of canceling the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Because guess what? A lot of people who take advantage of no tax on tips are also on Affordable Care Act plans. And
Yeah.
so if those subsidies get wiped out, there goes all the benefits of no tax on tips when healthcare is doubling, tripling. The savings is gone. So the pressure is on both
What we've talked
sides.
about before is the fact that this is one of the first times that so much of the Republican voter base will be affected by this kind of cut because the Republican base was not typically as government dependent in previous years. Their cohort was tended to be more college educated, wealthier, not necessarily as dependent on some of these programs, and that's no longer the case.
Right. And by the way, there is still a big wealthy cohort of Republican
Of
supporters.
course. But
but
I
there's
think they're going to have a rude awakening when their cohort feels the pain of these changes they so blithely made with the big beautiful bill.
right, and it adds up, and so maybe there was one change on subsidies, for farmers, and maybe that was overlooked, although not really. But now this really hits home. It impacts families. It impacts health. It's not going to be just
Also,
explained
people are
away.
being asked to go in while not being paid,
Right,
and there's no accommodation for the fact that many, many, many people, it costs them money to go to work in terms of childcare or elder care or various other things that they are having to lay out money for. So, a lot of Americans, if they miss one or two paychecks, they don't have the resources to continue
right,
to go to work for free because who's going to take care of the people they're responsible for?
right. So these threats that the back pay won't be paid are empty threats. There will be they will be paid, and if they're not, there will be lawsuits that will be successful immediately. Um,
Where is that written that they have to be paid? Like, is that just practice or is that like in the Constitution?
it's not in the Constitution, but it's in regulations. But also the core principle of all our
Well,
wage and
probably
hour
their work
laws.
contracts, all of the people.
Well,
Like,
not
if you're hot.
they won't all have contracts, but
Mhm.
some of them do have union contracts that would cover it. But also, the core principle of every wage and hour bill in the U.S., whether it's federal or state, is that there's no work for free. If you work, you have to be paid for it. So, to the extent people are working now, they need to be paid for it.
What about the ones who aren't going in? The ones who are told you can just stay home. Will they not be
Well,
paid
well, they were
ever?
ready and willing and able to be to work, so they should be paid as well.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But that leads us, you gave a perfect segue to the rise of the white collar union. Tell me about this.
Well, this is something we've talked about in prior episodes as something that may be happening. We talked about J.P. Morgan and some other
And
banks
that
that
I was
are
in a union on the campaign for the very first time. And I had a question about something related to work stuff for the campaign. And I just sent a message in the chat, and everybody was still so helpful. So I had a positive experience being in a white collar union.
great, great. A lot of people do, some people don't, as with any organization. But you know, we've talked about unions in the workplace before. We've talked about workplace activism repeatedly, including
Mhm.
last week. The more employers think that they have free reign to do whatever they want and act in a way that is disrespectful to employees, they speak disrespectfully to employees, they don't take employee opinion into consideration, the more employees will look to other avenues for protection and support, and unions are traditionally one of them. And right now, with a tighter labor market, where maybe in the past 2 years a white collar worker would have quit and gone to another company, they don't have that freedom now, so they're going to look for help. And where do they look for help? They call lawyers, they call unions. And although white collar unions are not really prevalent in the US, with the exception of a few industries, they're widespread throughout other countries, throughout Europe and around the world. So, does this trend take hold? I don't know. Is
That's
it
interesting. I didn't
crazy?
realize they were
No.
more widespread around the world.
Yeah. Go try and do something in Europe without having to deal with a
Oh,
union. It's like
yeah.
impossible. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and by the way, unions, they're, despite all the hoopla about unions and the positive press they've received over the past couple of years, their participation rates are still relatively flat, and they're looking for
Oh,
ways
that's
to have
interesting.
more influence. Yeah. So let's see. It's going to
So
be
if
an
overall
interesting trend.
participation is flat and there's been a rise in white collar unions, does that mean there has been a drop off in participation in blue collar unions?
Well, the article we looked at
I guess
didn't
less workers in
necessarily,
general, probably.
yeah. I mean, it didn't necessarily say that these efforts have been successful yet, which is true.
Hmm.
It's just that they're, even the
Well, except
fact that
we
they're
have
being
seen the
considered,
success of these efforts in the media space.
right. And you could,
Like in the
you
last
know,
5 years, every media company basically has had a union form.
right. And you can look at what has happened since then, and you can very clearly tell that unions did not save anyone's jobs or really help that much in that scenario. Now, media is an industry that's historically had unions in different places, and some have been very effective. But in the past 5 years, where the goal was really to protect jobs from being eliminated because of different innovations, digital innovations, it hasn't really worked.
Well, I also just want to, as I always do, plug if anybody wants to get a basic understanding of early relations between the media and unions, watch Newsies. It's a great movie,
Okay,
all about our old company, Hearst, in a way.
right.
Right.
Or go see the show. Um,
Is the show still on Broadway?
no, no. But Damn Yankees is coming back. Talk about old revivals.
Wow.
Currently
That
in
is an
DC, headed
old
to New York.
show.
Yeah.
What?
So it's currently in DC and headed to New York.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay, that's fun.
one of the main producers is George Steinbrenner's granddaughter.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
There you
information
go.
there, Peter. Way
Yeah.
to know
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah. Yeah. And Broadway. Come on.
And Broadway. Yeah. Very New York combination.
Very New York.
Um, okay, so in our little teapot of a media world, there's been a lot of tempest in the last week about Barry Weiss being put in charge of all of CBS News. They basically CBS did an acquihire, which is becoming more and more popular, I think, where people buy a company to get the leader. And you know, there's a lot I agree with that Barry Weiss does, a lot some I disagree with, but that's not the point. The point is there are a lot of people at CBS right now who may or may not feel like they agree with their new boss because they came from the world of opinion. How do you manage? I know what I would do internal comms wise, but kind of how do you think about that? Do you think, as an employee, when a boss comes in who has very publicly stated sentiments that may or may not agree with yours? How do you navigate that?
Well, first I want to say congrats to Barry Weiss
Oh,
on,
sorry. Yes, Mazel, Barry
achieving
Weiss.
a
Oh, oh,
major buyout, $150 million
yeah.
for her
Cha-ching.
newsletters. Not sure that valuation quite checks out, but okay, congratulations. Happy for
Mazel.
you. Looking forward to the day that the Across the Bar podcast gets acquired for $150 million. Which should be soon.
Barry
Um, but look, and full disclosure, I've worked with a lot of people in Paramount and
Weiss. Hmm.
and fielded a lot of calls over the past couple of weeks as this was sort of rumored and coming to be. And I've worked with people at other networks too, where similar changes have happened with less fanfare, but there have been actions at other networks, whether it's ABC mostly, or not so much
Oh, you're
NBC,
saying
but
people reacting to the Kimmel moment?
well, no, even before that. What this really is with the free press and what a lot of people think it is CBS sort of trying to get in the good graces of the administration, right? And
Yep.
so their ABC settled their case with the administration, which really was based on nothing. CBS settled their 60
Hmm.
Minutes case. And then this acquisition happens as part, shortly
Yep.
after the Skydance merger was approved for Paramount. So there's a lot sort of in the mix. It's not just a new boss arriving, it's a whole new sort of set of owners and bosses. And a lot of people at Paramount are really freaked out about it.
Yep.
Paramount is actively offering buyout packages to
Oh,
employees
really?
who want to leave.
What
And
is your what's your advice in general on that? Like, are buyout packages a good idea?
to be offered
Like, if you're
or to
offered
take.
one, should you kind of take it seriously?
Well, in this situation, going back to your original question, if you're having real doubts that you could work under this new administration, whether it's Barry Weiss or the Ellison component of it, then it's a great option. You take it, and hopefully you can find another job, test the market, and get another job, and double up and be somewhere where you want to be. If it's that important to you, then
Yeah.
sure, it's a great option. And as a company, I've always encouraged companies to offer buyouts before they do layoffs, um, because I think it's a great tool. The company ultimately makes
Yeah.
the final decision on which ones they'll grant and
Let
which
do it.
ones they won't.
I mean, it is a
So
good way to weed people out, right?
right. And the other big issue that's going on there, forget about politics, is return to office, because part of the mandate of the Allisons is everyone comes back to the office. And
Oh, and
this,
5 days a week. Wow.
right. And this is a bi-coastal company. So there are definitely people in New York who are now being, required to go to LA and vice versa. So look, if
Mm.
that's not for you, then a buyout makes a lot of sense. The problem is the market isn't that great for jobs right now, but
Yeah.
if you believe in yourself and you're talented, then you'll have some security blanket and time to runway to find something new. But I
I think
I,
I
I will
think
say one
whenever
other.
you're offered it, you should think of it really seriously. If a
Yeah,
company is
definitely.
putting that out there, there's a reason they're shaky in some way, or you're shaky with them in some way. Your role is shaky.
Right.
And think about how what your chances of finding work is within the time that the buyout would give you.
Right.
It can often pay
And
off and it can
and
kind of give you a nice extra bump of money.
yeah, and you also have to make sure the terms are what they're advertised. So, like, for instance, we talked early days of our podcast about the quote fork in the road buyout that was being offered. And, my advice was don't take that one because there was nothing actually in concrete. This one's very different. But I will
Remind me
also
what
say
that was, the fork in the road
that
buyout.
that was the Elon Musk, like, you can leave
Uh,
and, we'll maybe pay you in
yeah, but
October.
he wasn't
Yeah.
offering anything.
Right. It wasn't actually a concrete offer. Um, the other thing I will say, just to go back to your original question about, Barry Weiss in particular, I would say you want to give a new boss a chance to demonstrate who they are and what they stand for. And so there's a lot of
Yeah.
reporting around who she is and what she stands for. I mean, who knows if that's true? She's also now stepping into this huge role. Who knows if
Well, I'm going to
she'll
push back on that. We do know she was an opinion writer. So we do know her
right.
opinion on many things, but we don't know how that will inform her leadership.
Right, and we don't know how that will translate into her role
Right.
as a
We don't know how those
CEO
opinions. Yeah.
of a of tens and thousands of employees. Like, I mean, that's so we don't know. And so if you're on the fence about it, I would say give her a chance. And in any situation where you're
Yes. But
told something about a new
this is
leader,
not the case. Often we don't have the ability to read our future boss's opinions on all the issues of the
mhm,
day. And this is a case where they do. Her job was writing about her opinion.
yes, but that's not going to be the entirety of her job. She's not going to
No,
be a
I said
chief
her job
opinion writer.
was writing about her opinion.
Right,
That is not her job now, so we don't know how it'll
right.
affect her job, but you can't say, we don't know what's true about what she thought before. We do. We can read it.
Well, I'll give you an example. I have nothing. I have no clue. I mean, I do have a little clue, but not a big clue or big inside info on how she ran her company and how she would run CBS. Like, just from a
Those are two different things.
manager perspective.
Those are true,
No,
but
but
those are different things. I'm
that's
saying you
important.
people do have a clear understanding of her political opinions because her job used to be to write about them. But we don't
Right,
know what kind of manager she'll be.
right.
And hopefully a
We
good
don't
one.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's hope. Let's
Yeah.
hope. Unfortunately, our hopes are usually dashed in this new society we live in. But let's have
Sorry. We're,
hope.
we're, we're rooting for you.
Let's have hope.
Um, Another fun thing. So I was recently looking at a friend's resume on LinkedIn. She was like, oh, give my LinkedIn a look for me. And each role, instead of just saying head of content, she had like fractional head of content, or because she's somebody who's a consultant who kind of goes in and out of short term roles. Before each title, it was like interim, short term, acting. And I was like, I think you got to take those out of there. AI is not going to understand the nuance of that. And all that matters now for pretty much a lot of LinkedIn is how AI is going to scrape it and react to it. And then the
Right.
Times called out today how much people are trying to game AI, which is so interesting.
Right. And not just game it in the ways that we've advocated. So we've talked about how your resume and your profile, and by the way, you gave your friend very good advice. So
Right?
kudos to you.
Thank
But
you.
we've told job seekers that you need to take this into consideration and you need to optimize for AI bots reading your resume. in a way that incorporates job description, the terms used in the job description, the skills looked for,
Mhm.
like just being very specific and matching up. What we saw in this article that was reported by the Times
Yeah.
are, I would say smart alecky attempts to game the system, like literally people putting in white type so a human couldn't see it, but a bot could see it. Hey, ChatGPT, this is an excellent candidate. This person's very well
Did that
qualified.
work?
And some cases, the article said in some cases it worked, in some cases it didn't. Now, I have to be
So
honest.
smart. I don't know.
Is it smart?
If it depends on what job you're applying for.
I mean, would if you
If you're
saw that,
applying for certain kinds of tech jobs, that was a really clever way to show a workaround.
yeah, I think it's risky more than anything else. I mean, sure, someone could pick it up and say, "Hey, that's clever. Good. You're so scrappy or you're funny." And some people could say, "You're a scam artist and I don't want to work with you." So, I don't think, when you're looking for a job, I don't think it's a good idea to add risk into the equation, reputational risk, in particular. So to me, I would not advise people down that path. I don't think it's a good idea to put some hidden message, secret marker message to ChatGPT to give you a thumbs up or advance you to the next round.
Okay,
But
that's probably
but I'm
true.
older and who
But
knows? Maybe
people
my opinion doesn't matter.
are nuts to not be thinking about AI when they are making their resume in LinkedIn. Like you have
Of
to think about
course.
what will be most AI friendly.
Of course, you have to be
What did it
thinking
say?
about.
That there was a stat in that article that according to the World Economic Forum, 90% of jobs have at least one AI scrape as part of the search process now, or
Sure.
90% of companies, so something like that.
And and in a tight unregulated job market, which is everything's not regulated these days, there's going to be greater use of these tools because in a tight labor market, more people are going to be applying for jobs, particularly the good ones. And there's going to be a ton of resumes. And if you've talked to the people running these searches, like they're just overwhelmed. They put up a search and within an hour, they have hundreds of resumes. I mean, so how do you even deal with that without some means of narrowing
Yeah.
it down? So
Yeah. I spoke to a friend last week who is a recruiter at one of the big firms in New York, and she was saying people are starting to hire, but when they finally get the approval to hire, they have been without help they need for so long. It's like a panic. They want to do it quickly. Like, okay, I got the go ahead. Let's hire someone next week. And that is making, she said, as a recruiter, they have so much incoming of people looking for work. And there is some incoming in terms of open roles, but it's hard to match it up at the moment. So
right, and
from the
so much
front.
of that is pegged to the uncertainty and the inability to forecast
Yeah.
and predict what this government's going to do, and now the government shutdown's even contributing to it. So we'll see. Eventually, it will open up, and
Mhm.
there will be more free movement in the job
Did
market.
you see that article I sent you though earlier today that said almost all of the growth of the economy in the last year is specifically from data centers to support AI? And if you take that out, the American economy has not actually grown that much in the last year.
The AI
I was not
economy
aware of that.
is yeah. Well, I've been very aware of it. I mean, the people I represent who have had the greatest deals put in front of them over the past few months have all been related to AI or data center type ventures. The numbers are incredible. The race is incredible. The competitiveness, the sourcing of these centers, the energy needs, the construction timelines. It's really quite extraordinary.
Really
And
interesting.
yeah, and the other thing we're going to see, which we saw a little bit this week, now that the government has stopped reporting labor numbers, a lot of private firms are issuing their own numbers on how the economy is doing. And guess what? They're not that good.
Not that good.
And so Carlisle put out a report yesterday that said the last job report we got, which wasn't that great, wasn't even as good as it was represented according to their numbers. So we're going to have an
And
interesting
that was
like
the
push and
woman. That was
pull.
when they fired the woman because they didn't think the numbers were good enough.
That's right. And then the guy they appointed just quietly ducked out because he was
Yeah.
totally unqualified. So there was actually, I don't think, any
Had
Bureau
he
of
not
Labor
been a host on Fox
Statistics.
News? That it like is that why he was not qualified?
Very possible. I didn't, maybe he had the wrong type of suit, didn't have the right like etching inside. I have no idea.
All right.
It's very
Heroes
possible.
and zeros. Who's your zero?
You started. Oh, so many choices, frankly. I gotta say my zero is Christy Nome and her comments about Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl. And by the way, anyone criticizing the Bad Bunny selection for the Super Bowl, just get over yourself. Stop taking yourself so seriously. It's not the end of the world. This guy's
Also, he's
incredibly
Puerto Rican. That's
talented.
part of America. I don't even understand what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, the guy's incredibly talented,
He's the
incredibly
guy.
popular.
The guy.
And the NFL is the least woke organization you will ever find. Good luck
Seriously.
calling the NFL woke. No one believes it. It's a bunch of trash. And Christy Nome saying that ICE is going to come to the Super Bowl to
I'm
arrest who?
sorry. That's just
Corporate
racist.
executives
That's just
who are
racist. I'm using it.
well. Anyone who's been to a Super Bowl knows that 95% of the attendees are corporate
Every
and
seat
very
is a corporate
wealthy.
seat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. ICE is going to be pretty bored. Maybe they'll be eating more donuts like they are in Portland or
Yeah.
wherever.
Oy.
So,
All right,
so
so we didn't
thanks.
have the same one, but mine is adjacent. I think mine actually is Pam Bondi with the utter
Duh.
disrespect she showed the Senate
Repeat.
yesterday. The
Yeah.
way she spoke to senators of the United States, I thought
Yeah.
was
It's a bummer.
appalling. That showed a lack of respect for the United States government. She had a really cute ponytail while she was doing it. I will acknowledge
Mm.
it, but hideous behavior. Hideous behavior. I'm sorry. Did you see how she spoke to people?
Yeah. It's tough. It's
Why
tough
does
to
that
watch,
seem
frankly.
okay?
I I'm not sure anyone actually thinks it's okay, but you'd love to see more people call it out or
Yeah.
someone lose their job over it, but that's not how this group operates.
No.
Hero?
Hero. So I
Hero?
am going to a really cool
Positivity?
dinner tonight that I will be able to talk
That
more
I'm
about
not
after.
invited to.
Again,
Yeah.
Mark
Another one.
Bittman, the former New York Times columnist and cookbook author and conservationist and chef, is doing a community is doing this like community restaurant pop up
Yeah. Downtown.
where have you gone to it or read about it?
I know people involved in the project. Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's
I'm
awesome.
going tonight. I'm so excited. It's
Great.
Mark Bittman is incredible. Everybody who is hired, everything about it is trying to do something good and feed the community, hiring people from the community. It's in the East Village. Mark Bittman is, I like people who want to innovate in a space and just start doing it.
Yeah, and just to further explain it, I mean,
Yes, please.
this is high quality food.
Yeah.
Like high quality ingredients that you would find in any top restaurant at affordable prices and different pricing levels at the election of the customer. But the goal is to make it affordable for people who live in the community. So
Yeah.
there's one. I think you're going to the one on the Lower East Side, probably, and
I'm
there's
going.
maybe
There's
one
one
uptown.
at the Lower East Side Girls Club, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
directly like 10 blocks east of me, directly. And I've done stuff involved with them before, so I'm excited to go. And
Great.
how's your hero?
Can't wait to hear about it.
That was a good one, right?
Yeah, that was a great one. I have multiple heroes. We had
Okay.
some
All
breaking
right.
news over here today. I'll make it very quick. Uh, Sip and Guzzle was named the best bar opening in the world and the number
By
39
whom?
bar in the world
By
by the
whom?
world's top 50 bars
I still have not been
association. There was a
invited there.
big celebration in Hong Kong. The ceremony was in Hong Kong tonight. So
Go Sip and
number one
Guzzle.
bar is in Hong Kong, but yeah, pretty sweet. But my other hero, the show we've named some shows as heroes, so I'm going to go for a show. Task on HBO.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Incredible,
Who's in
incredible,
it?
incredible show. Well, there's a number of really good people. The main star is Mark Ruffalo, and so that some people aren't so excited about that. But putting
He is
that
a
to the
great
side,
actor.
it is a
He's a
great
great
show.
actor.
He's a
Nice guy.
great actor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
All right, I'll check that out.
that's what I got.
All
Yeah, check
right.
it out.
This was a good one. It's a
Well,
gorgeous fall day
yeah,
in New York. Go enjoy it, Peter.
Yeah, I plan to, and enjoy your dinner. And
Thank
thanks
you.
for everyone for listening and watching
And send us
across the
questions
bar.
because we try to be helpful. And thank you, Sadie Rahbar, for producing.
Yeah, thanks. See you next week.